The Expansion Zone with Sonia Barrett.
Everybody's talking about consciousness. Everybody wants that eternal kiss. Yeah, everyone's saying there's more than this. Everyone wants to follow their own bliss. Talking about one love, one blood, one life in everyone. One life, give each other. We are sisters and brothers. We sing Om.
On the Expansion Zone, we examine life and our quest to understand who and what we are and of the vastness of human potentials. We explore the making of our world from quantum physics to parapsychology, health, sociology, and philosophy, along with practical living. You are reminded of the possibilities in creating personal change. So for an hour, we'll stimulate and expand the mind.
Shanti, 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 shanti. Sing the world. Let's do it together. Shanti, 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 shanti. It's time to wake up. Shanti, shanti, to a brighter day. Realize that.
Well, welcome once again to another edition of the Expansion Zone with Sonia Barrett. I'm, of course, your host, Sonia Barrett. And as always, I'd like to thank you for tuning in on this Monday, for joining me, and for emailing me as well and telling me how much you love the show. And I'm really delighted. So we're going to do our Monday quote as usual. And I really love this quote. Of course, I love all the quotes that I end up reading, but I love this quote. It says, motivation is a fire from within. If someone else tries to light that fire under you, chances are it will burn very briefly. And that's by Stephen R. Covey. So I'm going to elaborate on that in just a moment. Today's topic, however, is stop waiting for life to give us permission. All right. And our guest is Hortencia Campbell and Maurice Clark, also known as Tenci and Sol Xprsn. They are co-founders of Ufulu Child, and of course they'll also elaborate on that in a little bit. But as far as the quote, motivation is a fire from within. If someone else tries to light that fire under you, chances are it will burn very briefly. Wow, so true. It's great to have motivational speakers, but the fact of the matter is that you have to be the one to stir motivation from deep within. We have to move those thoughts and beliefs out of the way in order to light that long-lasting fire under us. So we do have to move those thoughts and beliefs that are the saboteurs in our life. And this is precisely why the effects after listening to a motivational speaker is often short-lived. The momentum wears off because it's not coming from deep within. It's often a quick fix. And I think, sure, that's okay too, but we have to find a way to use that kind of motivation, external motivation, as a launching pad into diving into your own mind. So this is why I often say, I am not a motivational speaker. I never refer to myself as a motivational speaker, because what I want is for people to get an authentic stir from within themselves. So motivational speaking is fine, but what you do with it, that's a whole other story, especially right now. So the bio on our guests today, Hortencia Campbell and Maurice Clark, also known as Tenci and Sol Xprsn, are co-founders of Ufulu Child, a Texas-based home for freedom seekers worldwide, rooted in artistry and wellness. Beyond being husband and wife, they are hip-hop soul performing artists and holistic healers with expertise spanning from Kemetic or ancient African, yoga, Reiki, and holistic lifestyle transformation to sacred geometry artwork, songwriting, and beyond. Boy, they're super talented. The trajectory of Ufulu Child changed forever after witnessing Tenci's mother reverse her cancer and diabetes by applying key elements of a holistic healing system they now call Kemetic. Is it EO? EIO? Ufulu Child is on a mission to help freedom seekers live a healthy lifestyle while unlocking next level self-love for themselves and their world. And so they're dealing with people from all walks of life, as they say, are becoming healthier, happier, spiritually empowered, and more of themselves through this process that they're going to talk about today. So, well, I guess it's time to bring you both in. Welcome to the Expansion Zone.
Hello, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here, for the nice introduction. I'm Soul Xprsn.
Good day, everyone. I'll project.
All right, there you are, because I know you're soft-spoken.
Yes.
You're soft-spoken, but now you're coming through loud and clear, so that's fantastic, because we want to hear you. You have so much wisdom, just in what I was able to look at. And I think one of the things that I really found so beautiful is the fact that you found each other. You're husband and wife.
Yeah.
It's crazy, right?
My best friend. What?
It's like, where?
I sure was not looking.
That's when it happens, that's when it happens. So tell us, tell me a little bit about this organization, first of all, and then kind of get into the idea of freedom, because I know a lot of your work is based on freedom in people really coming into their own, and so defining that, because the idea of freedom can be so many different things for people, and sometimes we don't even know that we're not free. So tell us a little bit about your organization.
Absolutely. Ufulu Child. The word Ufulu means freedom in a Bantu derived African language in the southern region of the continent. And Ufulu Child, the basis of our business and the basis of our livelihood and our lifestyle is freedom. Freedom to be and express the wholeness of oneself. And of course, we express through many facets, but mainly 3 different lenses. Wellness, or holistic wellness, being the first. Artistry, or music, art, things like that, being the second. And then truth, being the third. And this is related to the spirit. Truth that is true always. And so in every offering that we make public, we seek to embed the intention of unconditional love and unconditional freedom. Whether it's yoga or plant-based nutrition or getting over limiting beliefs that pose as blockades from us getting to that vision of freedom for ourselves.
So I said we do a lot of work in the limiting belief transformation arena, because at the end of the day, as I like to say, belief is the hands that shapes the world around you. Belief, is you will see and interact with things that are not there with belief. And so it literally shapes the world around you. It shapes the things that are really there, shapes the things that aren't really there. Of course, we can dive into that a little bit later, but that's sort of that awakening to that fact as an experience really helped solidify our calling, as a business together, and then also our calling to what we want to grow into, to, as outside of doing, business and interacting with other people, just us together as well. We wanted to grow into something that was more real than what we saw in front of us. And one of the springs that springed us forward, as you read in the bio, is we witnessed somebody use very minimal mainstream health care stuff and used a lot of limiting belief transformation and a lot of like a holistic approach, basically. I'm sure we'll get into it later, so I don't want to
Right, spirit, mind, body.
Right now. But yeah, the spirit, mind, body connection was what really was used in not only beating the rare form of cancer, right, but also reversing the diabetes in the same year.
Wow.
And it was like, okay, so there is something bigger than what we see and what is reported to us, in the various report systems.
And for so far, what you said, what we've talked about right now, really connects with the topic at hand. Stop waiting for life to give us permission. And we find that often people are waiting for life to give them permission. And so that's where the stagnation comes in. And that's where the idea of freedom, I would imagine, in terms of your work, comes in, because it's helping people to loosen themselves up enough to realize that they are the ones that have to give themselves permission. And even in this healing process that you've mentioned, if you want to talk about that, we can do that at this time, to talk about this healing process that I think Hortencia's mom went through, that it wasn't just taking something, but it was like an internal transformation, mind, spirit. Whoever wants to address that.
No problem.
We'll probably both want to say something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll kick it off. So when it comes to how we view holistic healing, we view it from, we can say either, we'll say through 7 different lenses. Okay. So our holistic healing transformation system is called what we term Kemetic EIO, freedom lifestyle. And so in Kemetic EIO, there are 7 different elements. So limiting belief transformation, meditation, Kemetic yoga, optimized plant-based nutrition instead of diet, nutrition, cleansing and fasting, medicinal herb therapy, and freedom without form. Those are the 7 of the elements. And we aim to help people just know that all power, all change, all lasting change comes from the inside out. So that's the root of everything. If you're looking for it in one of these tools, you're not going to find it. You're only going to find it as it's birthed from within you and expressed outward, because that's just the nature of things that are true. They must be true always. And so we look at it from the lens of being your fullest self. We have something called the Freedom 5, and it's be, cleanse, fuel, move, and shine. So be your fullest self. Cleanse your body, nourish your being. Fuel yourself with content, not just food, but content as well, that's going to uplift and inspire you toward your freedom vision. And move your body intentionally, however you're called. Nobody thrives in boxes, no matter what their journey is. And to have that flexibility and that inner rooting, inner knowing, inner grounding, so that you can shine on other people, which is the 5th of the Freedom 5. To shine is to share honest, insightful, and nourishing expressions. Shine. And that's basically our holistic healing system in the nutshell. So in my mom's part of her internal transformation, she went through not being able to walk, talk, eat solid foods, anything that was thicker than tea with the herbs strained out, she could not consume. The doctors had messed up during surgery, so part of her face still remains scarred as a result of that. And a lot of pride in my family was from being good looking. And so some things shifted. Her foundation became rocky. And what she could lean upon in the times where she could not move, in the times where she could not do anything in terms of an act to shine on other people, the things that she did have were her own essence, her own spirit, her own love of life, her own will to be free, and her mind, the power of her mind, even when she couldn't talk, you know? So the mind became a quick foundation, knowing that all things kind of go off of your own energetic blueprint, the blueprint of your thoughts, attitudes, and emotions collectively. And so in her journey, she took this path, this walk, to loving herself unconditionally, no matter the circumstance. And that was the doorway that she opened and turned the knob and opened it up and walked through to the other side of her healing, where she was able to reverse diabetes within 3 months, shifting her eating, cleansing her being, and beating the cancer within 12 months. So
wow, that's self-love.
That birthed everything. For real.
It's definitely powerful. And the fact that you said love of self unconditionally, gosh, what a major key. And then you talked about the looks aspect. Again, you know, our face, super important, which it is important, but at the same time, you know, as far as from the social aspect, from society's aspect, that's the pressure. That's the pressure that people feel. So, Maurice, I'm going to let you, before I interject anything else, I know you want to add to what was just said.
Yes, indeed. So, we call it, you know, the system itself, we call it Kemetic EIO. First thing I wanted to do was explain what the E, the I, and the O point to. So E is experiential, I, introspective, O, optimization. So making things go beyond a fresh idea, and passing a certain level of understanding about these things to where they become your experience, to where they become what Neville Goddard would call your assumption. Right now, there's two different kind of ways to assume. You can assume intellectually, and you can also assume in a more holistic kind of way. And this second way, it doesn't really have a name. At least I don't know of a word in English that would fit. But this assumption, this experience, is got to be so real for you. It's like when you lay down to go to sleep, you assume you're eventually going to fall asleep. And so you're not counting the seconds to make sure that it happens. You just know you're going to fall asleep. And you have no idea what exact second that was because you just assume it that deeply. So that's that second kind of assumption where it is your reality because it's not merely an idea anymore. So experiential, introspective optimization. So introspective, now you're aware of your basic assumptions. You're aware of these deep assumptions that have shaped your life. And through practice or through maybe just understanding for some people can get it through just understanding. Maybe through practice or understanding, you can also know experientially that it's possible to change your assumptions, that you can outgrow assumptions. So basically that you have the power to change your perception of, you know, what your limitations are and what the limitations of humanity is and the world and the cosmos. All of these assumptions are changeable. It is your right to explore what you can do in this life while you're still alive. You don't have to wait 1,000,000 lifetimes until you wake up by accident. You know, you have the right. There's a video on my YouTube channel that on our YouTube channel, on my YouTube series called Get Your Mind Right. In one of these videos, I call it The End of the World is Now. And it's kind of a play on time. And I'll be brief in my explanation. It's kind of a play on time because the end of the world, when it's actually the physical end of it, will happen right now. So who knows when that's really going to happen? What would you do if you knew that the physical end of the world was right now? And that's kind of what I talked about in that video. It's like, if it's the end, bye-bye, you know, we're getting swallowed by the sun or something. It's just the end for everybody. Then what would be your attitude? Would you scold your kids so hard for silly mistakes? Would you scold yourself and look at your mistakes with such a magnifying glass if it was the end of the world? And since the end of the world will be now, right? Then whatever happened yesterday and all of the yesterdays up to right now, and now we're at the end. We're literally at the end of the world. So that's, you might as well live your life, basically, is the moral of that story. So that's what Kemetic EIO, that's what our system really stands on is firstly, you have the right to explore this life. If you don't want to obey others, you'll need to learn how to listen to yourself. And that's easier said than done.
Yes.
And it's about experiential introspective, where you're aware of it, optimization, where you're ascending, you're going forward, you're not in stagnation or going backwards.
Yes. And again, it goes back to that word also. It's permission. It's like giving yourself permission to understand all of this, to see all of this, to understand what you're speaking about with the assumptions and the changeability of all of it, to be able to really own that, as opposed to being so completely external, because it's easier to look outside and to blame everything. It's sort of been the programming. But were you adding something else?
No, I said yeah, okay. Indeed.
Now you do have a book, I believe. Yes, please talk about that, because is this, and I think it said, what was it? Something about was it yoga? What's the name of it? The book.
So it's what we call the ultimate checklist. It's 117 effective yoga tips that will, I think the subtitle, something like that, will make you
boost your
practice.
Yeah.
Basically, it walks people through like step-by-step things. The whole thing is interactive, first of all. So it is like a check-off thing with bite-sized action steps through 10 different phases or 10 different lenses of your life. Everything from your internal setting, so what your experience is within your body, your external setting, so light, sound, smell, anything engaging your senses, your hydration, proper breathing, plant-based dietary suggestions, and just becoming more familiar with things to do before you even get on a yoga mat, things to do while you're doing a class or looking for the right instructor, or it answers basically every possible question that we had throughout our journey when it comes to holistic living through a yogic lens or through the practice of yoga. And that sounds great. It's a one.
I asked about it because of everything that you were saying. It seemed like at the time when I looked at it, it seemed to me that those key points that you've included in the book seem very relevant to part of this transformation. I mean, so even if a person is not a yogi at this time, but it seemed to have the body that would be essential to someone taking some steps forward as well. Is that right?
Yeah. We were really aiming toward anybody that has a that sort of, you know how when you don't know it yet, but something in you does know that you want to wake up from this whole thing.
Absolutely.
Even before you act on it, because it's everybody's gonna look at you weird. But basically that inner, so anybody, which I think is a lot more people than we may take when we're looking at people on the bus and, on our way to work or whatever. But I think it's plenty of people, and we were aiming with this book to give somebody some major fundamental insight on what to do if you want to live a more healthy, holistic, and happy life, right? Because these tools and practices lead to more happiness. This is what happens. This is not pseudo stories, but this is really, now, is one size fits all? Of course not. Nothing is one size fits all, except
but
maybe
it's the
time.
triggers. It
Yeah.
seems to be the steps or the keys that you're presenting. When an individual applies it, it's going to impact them according to their own situation, right? So,
Absolutely.
So you're not promising a specific result, but what you're saying is if you apply these steps, you're going to get to the heart of your own joy and your own clarity.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And a lot of it, and a lot of it when we do our coaching is it really tackles the limiting belief side of things, right? Because there are people, and it's funny because I have a love-hate relationship with saying things like this. You'll get it when I say it. But there are people in their 100 and whatever years old smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day, eating meat and lots of butter.
Mm-hmm.
This is real, and it's because they're and they're working mundane kind of jobs, but just their mind. This is what they know, and so they're just happy. They're fine, and they don't have any of the muscular and the mucus-based stuff that comes when you're holding tension everywhere in your body because you hate your situation, and you have all of these limiting beliefs. And so we really focus in on the limiting beliefs, but also we know if you do these physical things on the side of this, there's no way you can not get to the level you want to get to, and it's different for everybody. But
It's commitment.
Nobody can stop you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It is commitment and desire.
Getting micro wins. That's the whole point of the book, is to just start to build your own inner momentum. You be inspired. You set your goal. You set your intention. And the whole thing is structured to where you get like little wins throughout. So it's like, oh,
they add up to big wins.
Hard. Exactly.
They add up to, just like $1 million is made up of a lot of pennies.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. That's
So
like life.
yeah, so it's those big wins. What I love that you did mention, because I think this is so super important. Yes, you mentioned that there are people who are over 100 years old. There are people who are older who you talk to them and they'll say, oh yeah, they drink their whiskey every night or they smoke their cigar. But there's a contentment with many of those people. And I think that speaks to the function of the body, which is what you're saying, when there's less emotional blockages, when one can be free to embrace one's life, your past and your present.
Good, bad, and ugly.
Exactly. And that's the freeing right there. And so just to throw this in real quickly, and you can respond to this, but it's like the people that have ended up with certain health issues and people go, oh my gosh, but that person was a vegan. Oh my gosh, that person was a vegetarian. Oh my gosh, that, whatever, that person was this or, was that in the, what we would call the positive sense. But then there's all these other issues. And it's we all carry a lot of stuff, unresolved things. And I think that's the part that people don't look at. They don't realize is that if you're carrying this baggage, you can eat well. It's going to help you. But the heart of the matter is what, are you carrying emotionally? What are your cells taking in? What's choking them from getting that oxygen?
Yes.
So, yeah. If you want to add to that. Mm-hmm.
Of course. So when it comes to the body mind, the body mind construct, right? I'll say that because really, again, the whole thing is a collection of information, right? From the atoms that make up the cells, those atoms are made up of information. And so all of this cosmic information focused on this one point called your body, is infinite. And so your mind, which is sort of like this doorway to the controller of this body, sort of. I have to speak vaguely here because we don't know,
Right.
But your mind, which can be felt within your body, which is like this doorway to the true source, sort of, kind of, is something you can use in such a way, whether it's on purpose or by accident, you just happen to fall into this rhythm. You can use your mind in a way that it bypasses certain otherwise like laws of health, laws of nature, laws of existence itself. And so, this mind
powerful.
is,
Mm-hmm.
this mind that we experience, right? I'm not gonna say we have a mind, because in my view, there's one mind in all of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
There is the mind, and this mind is always changing, but I, who witness the mind, I don't change. I'm sort of very still and kind of uninvolved. I'm just here. And the fact that the mind exists is really great and blissful and brings a whole lot of good stories. That's kind of how I look at it. That's not, we don't push people to think exactly like we do, of course. Just want to add that out there.
Oh, yeah.
But,
those are great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great to have a variety of perspectives, because reality is made up of diverse angles, and it's everything. So with that said, I'm going to say we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back after this brief message. Do stay tuned. And we are back. You are, of course, tuned in to KPFK 90.7 FM in Southern California and streaming live at kpfk.org. You are listening to The Expansion Zone with Sonia Barrett, and that would be me. And we are having a great conversation with my guest, two guests today, Hortencia Campbell and Maurice Clark, a wonderful husband and wife couple who are just, to me, just awesome young people, really exploring, really diving in to down the rabbit hole and sharing insights with people, other people, and helping. And their organization, they're co-founders of Ufulu Child, which is a Texas-based, Texas-based? You're in Texas, I take it?
Yes.
I don't know what gave that away.
Actually, we're
I'm
from
quick
Arkansas.
that way.
Just kidding.
right.
We're from Texas.
I'm just real sharp that way. Yeah. So, now let's talk about the musical side of who you are, because you are two creative folks, and your work is just amazing. The delivery, the energy. So can we talk about the musical side of it? Because I think that's your original sort of foundation. That for if I term it that
it's
way.
Funny. It's really funny, Sonia, that you say foundation, because we met at a venue where we were both performing that night. That's where we met. So the foundation. Yeah. The word foundation is the most appropriate word you could have said right there.
All we did was concerts and shows before before my mom was diagnosed. That's all we did was the music and art.
That's something else. That creative energy, though, just started to stir even more, because what is creation? Creation is very creative, you know. Creation is art,
right? And even the you know, you could say we met, right? That itself is creation, and in a way, we've used the growth that we experience together, both romantically and holistically, right? That experience of growth we use to fuel the creativity that comes through our, you know, pens when we write a song, or when we put together a script for a video, or what have you. This inner experience of growing together is the fuel out of the Freedom Five for our creativity. And so when songs like I have this one song called Everybody Move, when stuff like that is born, it carries with it the growth. It's like my writing process. I have to be in a state where I'm aware of my recent growth to really feel when I'm writing a song and when it comes out, you know, how I like it, you could say. I got to be in the space that me and my wife kind of co-created as we, you know, grew, like I said, romantically and otherwise. So it really, and our story, let me tell you.
Please do.
Because this, you call it a rabbit hole. It's a tornado tunnel. You know? Or funnel, I should say. Tornado funnel. It's ridiculous.
Wow.
We've you know, we had no cars, we had the one car, we had two cars, back to one car, we had this apartment, then we lost that, and then we tried money manifestation in abundance, and that didn't work, and we did the whole journey. We went through.
And then I was raw vegan and not eating, and then I was eating, and then I had the loaf of bread, and then
I love this journey because I can so relate.
So this, you know, kind of the details don't really matter, right? Everybody seems to go through their own up and downness when it comes to this type of awakening. And this type of awakening is not your, you could say, typical spiritual only type of awakening. This is like including awakening from certain things in the physical realm for the purpose of, you could say, relaxing more in the ego state. It is, and it's, but the thing is that, like, when you do that and you haven't let go of the guilt for wanting your ego to feel good, then it's tragic. It's we learned from experience that you have to be okay with relaxing and letting your ego or your human story, whatever you call this illusion, right, to let it enjoy itself without feeling guilty that you're being lazy, you're not doing enough in a day, hustle till you die, you're God sees you. God sees you relaxing,
whipping up,
you lazy.
Gosh, it's funny,
but it's like, no,
true.
Like there's nothing in the rule book, even the religious rule book. There's nothing that really says, by the way, do not take time to breathe. Nothing in the rule book says that, you know. Get your money, get your whatever you want in your soup. This is your game, as since we're on the expansion zone. This is your game.
It is. It's totally your game, and you're responsible for it. But what I want to do is, because I kind of like just moving and grooving to this Everybody Move song.
Yes.
I love it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a listen to Everybody Move. And let me tell you, wherever you are, you're going to be moving. And when we get done listening to that, I'd love for Maurice to tell us more about just writing that song, what, you know, where where that came from. Well, we kind of know where it came from, but if he wants to elaborate on that moment. So just take a listen.
Believe it or not, being stagnant make you leave what you got. Locked inside and potentially it'll rot if you don't make it a point to believe in your plot. Look, I'm sent here to uplift y'all mentally and restore greatness to blackness eventually through musical notes and a lyrical remedy that'll reverse racism, sexism, and better me. They say it's not black and white though, right? They say there's gray room for security, but why is it that it's the number of black students, not crime, determining whether schools get security? In the form of an overseer, lost in his own idea of purity, secure in fear, in the center of what was pure in me. So now I'm making a stand and creating the grammar necessary to create me some fans, and bringing an army of intellects to make an advance on everybody in sleep mode. Release those free minds and relate to the hands of the Almighty that's within each living galaxy in the lands. My eyes roam, you know, like Rome when I drove through and I told you to get up, get up. Everybody move, do what you do, put your soul in the groove, say get up, let's take a stand, move your body, gon' throw up your hands, get up, everybody move, do what you do, put your soul in the groove, get up, let's make a stand, move your body, gon' throw up your hands, get up, everybody move, do what you do, put your soul in the groove, say get up, let's take a stand, move your body, gon' throw up your hands, get up, everybody move, do what you do, put your soul in the groove, say get up, let's make a stand. As I look around this world, all I see is opportunity, expressive personalities, platforms for unity, art forms, purity, creative communities, conscious brothers and sisters with political impunities, sickness and immunity, chaos and peace, opposites attract as similarities decrease, impurity, secure the dream disparities, and see to it we all can have a piece of what we see up in our sleeps. Bring the wolf out from the costume sheeps. The revolution television be the speech in which we use it to abuse what's in the streets, cause we foolishly been moving further deep in our own demise. Ain't it useless just to see? Like if you don't move, history still repeats when knowledge isn't applied. You wasn't born into sin, they just lied. No one was born in sin till they was born a slave. You was born with opportunities to tour the game and make more for the poor while restoring the name of the people from earth now in enormous cages. Cause we still keep our head up and push it through the floor to the pavement. The show must continue, the floor can cave in. Real talk, we don't stop going hard to the gaming. Get up, everybody move, do what you do, put your soul in the groove, say get up, let's take a stand, move your body, gon' throw up your hands, get up, everybody move, do what you do, put your soul in the groove, get up, let's make a stand, move your body, gon' throw up your hands, get up, everybody move, do what you do, put your soul in the groove, say get up, let's take a stand, move your body, gon' throw up your hands, get up, everybody move, do what you do, put your soul in the groove, say get up, let's make a stand. Loving my people is how I must live. Oh, why? Why are we killing ourselves and our kids? Oh, why? Who are the teachers and how do they live? Oh, why? How does the world even get into this? And where is the balance in political correctness? How can you sugarcoat truth in your methods? How can you teach without adhering to your lesson? My people, listen to the message. We was taught warfare is strictly physical, but you know a person got more than one system flowing within his whole being at a time than just the body and the mind. We decided to recline and relax too early for our struggle. Quickly learned how quickly our history smuggled and falsified. So now I'm just trying to toss the lies and stand on truth. But the thing is, I wanna do it with you. So go and get your crew and your boo, so we can make it do what it do. Simply, I'm telling you to get up, everybody move, do what you do, put your soul in the groove, say get up, let's take a stand, move your body, gon' throw up your hands, get up, everybody move, do what you do, put your soul in the groove, get up, let's make a stand, move your body, gon' throw up your hands, get up, everybody move, do what you do, put your soul in the groove, say get up, let's take a stand, move your body, gon' throw up your hands, get up, everybody move, do what you do, put your soul in the groove, say get up, let's
Okay, all right. I know that you loved it. I know that you were moving around in your cars, in your wherever you are, in bed if you're laying in bed. You can't help but move around when you hear that this music and the energy that's coming through from the performer. So, performer Maurice, tell us about that song when you wrote it. What was
Yes,
going on?
yes. So Everybody Move is, well, first of all, so my friend made that instrumental behind my voice, made the beat.
Mm.
And I had that instrumental in my various digital devices for about 2 years before writing Everybody Move. Now, Everybody Move, as you heard, some of the content is a little heavy. I touch on racial tension. I touch on some things that can be a little heavy. And so I actually wrote that when I was growing out of sort of what it feels to be angry that police treat Black people weird every day, and being angry that, there's a lot of obvious plays that the television makes, but all of my friends seem to just drink it all up and believe everything they hear. Stuff like that, being angry at all of these things. I was growing out of that when I wrote this song that, like I said, has some heavy content, a little bit, context. And it was through that songwriting process that I got to mentally process what I was so angry at. And what I was so angry at was that it was making me scared that some of these tragic stories would happen to me, and then in turn making me focus on all of the tragic stories and stay stagnant. And so the message in the song is move, and moving is not about avoiding stillness, right? Because stillness is holy, but it's about moving to unite virtue within everybody. And so that's an acronym for MOVE, MUVE, moving to unite the virtue in everybody. And moving to unite the virtue in everybody means, living your life to the fullest so that they see an example of what inner light looks like when it's shining through you. You, the listener, me, the writer, everybody.
Yes.
Right, absolutely. Now, let's be sure to have you give out your contact information. We do have a little bit of time left, but I think if you would give out your website. I don't know if you have any ebooks that you free downloads or anything at all. If you would share that with
Absolutely.
the audience, please.
Yes. Just so you know, that book that we mentioned, we do offer it for free. All that we ask for is help with shipping, so the shipping cost. And we'll cover the printing and get it to you. So our website is ufuluchild.com. So if you're interested in the book, you would go to UFULU child spelled out.com. ufuluchild.com. And then we are always on Instagram and Facebook, same Ufulu Child. And yeah, absolutely. It's UFULUCHILD.com. So we'd love to connect over those platforms as well. And everything from coaching and whatnot, you can always grab the link in our Facebook or Instagram profiles, and they'll point you wherever you want to go, any facet of Ufulu Child, including the music. So thank you.
Right. Now, I've got two things. Well, one, you also host a podcast, don't you?
Yes, the podcast is, so we have one official podcast, and then we also have Ufulu Child TV, which is on YouTube, where you can listen to all the Get Your Mind Rights that Sol was mentioning earlier. But for the podcast, it's Yoga Lifestyle Secrets. So it's everything along the journey to a freedom lifestyle. Along the way, just full transparency along my journey of things that I've learned, things that we've learned, everything from recipe follow along audios to yoga, talking about the deeper application of yoga. So a lot of it revolves around the mind. A lot of it revolves around like morning routines, things like that. Just giving yourself guidelines and a structure toward where you want to go, but also the freedom to be flexible and put your spin on everything. Yes. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, you guys. Oh, you're not ready. Okay.
All right, let me say something.
Yes.
So we also have put together a challenge, a 30-day challenge based on our Freedom 5 philosophy, you could say, or Freedom 5 methodology to holistic self-transformation, right? And so the 30-day challenge does not have a start date just yet, but all you need to do for info on that is, as she said, go to one of the ways that we're on social media, and you can just direct message us and ask about it, or you can send us an email at info at ufuluchild.com. And that, we will definitely give you the deets on the upcoming challenge. It will be advertised very, very soon, but it's in the works, and we already know what type of trainings we're going to do to go along with the Freedom 5.
Yeah. It's Unleash Next Level Self-Love.
Oh, nice. That's very appropriate for right now. Very appropriate for right now. So, yes. Now, a couple of things that I want to ask you. What would you say? What advice could you throw out there for young people? Could be an individual, could be a couple. These are very interesting times right now when people's relationships may be, getting shaky, rocky, or just an individual. And your message, your work is for everybody. It doesn't matter what age that person is. But I'm asking, because you're such a young, powerful couple, that, can you throw out any goodies?
Yes. Yeah. Know your why. And if you don't know your why, develop a why and be certain about it. Know your why. What does it mean? It means to wake up knowing why you have chosen to play the game that you're playing, even if your why temporarily is because I am no longer going to play the game I used to. Even if your why is something simple, like because I just feel so much gratitude. If you know what it is, and then you sort of honor it, then you're moving in the right direction by default. You see, because you step out of being an effect of life to being a cause of life, meaning you cause life to happen internally when you are able to develop and stick to and honor your why. So know your why. Develop, why are you getting out of bed? Why are you not getting out of bed? Whatever your choice may be, know your why and decide on it, right? Decide means to cut everything else off from, sort of your rhythm. And so decide on what your why is. Know your why, stick to it, right? So you have to choose something that's big enough for you, and not for your closest friend, but for you, and not for your parents, but for you, right? So know your why, honor your why, and know that means you're already moving in the right direction.
Wow. Know your why, and the truth shall set you free.
Yeah.
Yes. That's what came to mind. I was like, it's like, that's it. The truth shall set you free based on that. And anything that you want to add in terms of children, in terms of your work, as it may assist, the little ones as well?
Yes, absolutely. I would say to those beautiful beings that are coming up and finding their own footing in this world, to embrace your quirks, embrace as much of yourself as you can. Know that you are safe to express fully, and know that if you expect the good, all good will easily come to you. And know that you are greater than you think.
Yeah.
Yes, that last thing you said is the glue right there. Yeah, because until you know that you are more, it's, you can feel very narrow. You can be in a box, or allow then the external world to suggest being in a box. So
yes, and enjoy your life.
Yes,
enjoy your life.
Absolutely. Through all the circumstances, through the moments when you don't have any money and things are tight or whatever, we've all lived through many of these experiences, and that's what they are. They're an experience in that moment. Now, I think we're pretty much closing in on that time. We've got about a minute left. Now, I just want to go back really quickly just to clarify. The system you spoke about, EIO, now, is that a program that if somebody says, man, I'd love to really connect with them about this, is that part of your coaching? Is, just to clarify that.
Absolutely. So Kemetic EIO is our entire healing system. So everything that we do has some roots in Kemetic EIO, especially from the wellness and truth and self-love lens. And so a good link would be ufuluchild.com/coaching. And that way you can read through all of what Kemetic EIO means, and the 7 secrets behind Kemetic EIO, I think is what how we phrase it on there. But it's basically principles, elements, tools. They're tools. And we use the assistance of these tools in pointing you back and back and back and back to yourself again and again and again, until you need not be pointed, and you can continue to walk forth in full confidence and full knowing of who you are.
Because we don't know what's best for you, but the good news is you do.
Yes.
I love it. And with that said, I'm going to read what I posted this morning. But before I do that, I just want to say to both of you, thank you so much for being on the show. It has been a real pleasure having you here. And I am just wishing you, I don't want to say wishing you all the best, but I am just wishing things to unfold as maybe even way beyond what you have imagined, in terms of touching your own hearts and the hearts of others as well. So thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Oh, stop.
So we'll get all teary-eyed. But I think in light of all that we've said, I just want to read this because it's so appropriate. I wrote this this morning, and it's posted to social media, and based on everything going on right now. And it says, time to hold yourself accountable. What's your diet like? What's your health like? What's your mind like? What's your lifestyle like? Do you see yourself as a victim? Who are you blaming for your life's choices? Do you have the courage to take a look at how you got here? This is what it takes to let everyone else off the hook. Tell the truth to yourself, then act on change. No one is your keeper. This is your life and your responsibility. Take charge. So, with that said, thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks to our guest. Thanks to our engineer, D'Angelo Jones. And do check out the archive and all kinds of things on theexpansionzone.com, the TV version of some of the interviews as well. And the YouTube channel, do subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, and to social media, Facebook and Instagram and so on. And if you want to know more about me, do visit therealsoniabarrett.com. And as always, I like to remind you to live life to its fullest and question everything. Until next time, see you then.
Day. Everybody's talking about consciousness. Everybody wants that